Picture this, because I know almost every single one of us has felt it in the pit of our stomach. You're driving to work, maybe running a few minutes late, and then it happens. That little check engine light pops on, and your heart just sinks. Logically, you know that fixing the problem right now might cost a few $100s, but you look at your bank account and you have exactly $42 to your name until payday. So you ignore it. You turn up the radio to drown out that weird new rattling noise. You just pray it goes away. 2 months later, because you didn't have that $300 then, the car breaks down on the highway. Now you need a tow truck, that's $200. The original broken part has destroyed your transmission, that's a $2,000 repair. And because you can't get to work, you miss 2 shifts and lose $300 in wages. That initial inability to pay $300 has now spiraled into a $2,500 catastrophe. This isn't just bad luck. This is a mathematical trap. It's the hidden, suffocating cost of not having money. And it's the single biggest reason why it feels like you're working harder every year, but your bank account never seems to grow. My name is Alex, and I explore the hidden rules of money that keep people stuck. The counterintuitive idea we're going to break down today is this: being broke is the most expensive way to live. By the end of this video, you will understand this trap. You'll see the invisible equations that are working against you. And more importantly, you will see the very first step you can take to escape it. It all starts with a simple story about a pair of boots.
That sinking feeling of paying more when you have less, it isn't just a feeling. It's a recognized economic reality. In fact, it has a name. It's called the Boots theory of socioeconomic unfairness. It comes from a story by the author Terry Pratchett, and it explains the wealth gap better than most textbooks. The theory goes like this. Take 2 men. One is comfortably well off, the other is poor. The well-off man needs a new pair of boots. He goes to a good store and buys a pair of high-quality, hand-stitched leather boots for $50. Those boots are so well made that they last him for 10 years. The poor man also needs boots, but he can't afford the $50 pair. He only has $10, so he buys the cheap, cardboard-soled boots. But those boots fall apart after just 1 winter. The next year, he has to spend another $10, and the year after that, another $10. Over the same 10-year period, the poor man has spent $100 on boots. That's double what the rich man spent, and yet he still ends up with wet feet. This is the fundamental equation for why being broke costs more. You are forced to pay a premium for your lack of capital. And this isn't just about boots. This dynamic plays out in almost every area of modern life, creating a penalty for being poor. And once you see this pattern, you'll start noticing it everywhere, from the grocery aisle to the bank.
Let's break down the real-world examples of the Boots theory to show you exactly where your money is disappearing. We will start at the grocery store. This one sounds almost silly, but the math is real. Let's talk about toilet paper. If you have $50 to spare, you can go to a bulk store and buy a giant pack. The cost per roll might be something like 50 cents. You're set for months. But if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you don't have $50 to lock up in what is essentially toilet paper inventory. You have $4. So you go to the corner store and buy the 4-pack, where the cost per roll is $1.50. You are literally paying 3 times more for the exact same product simply because you couldn't afford to buy in bulk. This is the penalty for not being able to afford inventory, and it applies to almost every non-perishable good you buy. From laundry detergent to canned goods, the smaller your budget, the higher the unit price you pay. The banking system is built on psychology. Scientists have observed that when you pay with physical cash, it triggers something called the pain of paying in your brain. It's a natural brake on spending. Banks hated this brake, so they invented the debit and credit card to remove that pain, making it much easier to stumble into a trap. And that trap is the overdraft fee. If you have $20 in your account and a subscription you forgot about hits for $25, you're now $5 overdrawn. Does the bank help you out? No, they hit you with a $35 overdraft fee. Think about that. You effectively borrowed $5 for a day, and it cost you $35. When a bank does it, it's called overdraft protection. But that isn't protection, it's predation. Imagine a bodyguard who watches you get mugged and then hands you a bill for $35 for witnessing services. It's a wealth transfer from the poorest customers to the bank, just like the big, bold minimum payment number on your credit card statement, an anchor designed to keep you in debt forever. Now, let's talk about something bigger than boots. Cars. A dealership wants you to focus on the monthly payment, but savvy people focus on the total cost of ownership. A person with good credit and savings can buy a reliable used car. Their total cost is low. But a person with no savings is forced to go to a buy here, pay here lot. These places sell a high-mileage car that's worth maybe $4,000 for $8,000. Then, because of the bad credit, they'll tack on an interest rate of 24%. By the time that person finishes paying for that car, they have spent over $15,000 for a car that was only worth $4,000. But the real cost is even more devastating. It's not just the money you pay, it's the wealth you didn't build. If you avoided a $500 monthly car payment and invested it instead at an average 8% return, that money would grow to over $600,000 in 30 years. That is the true cost of a bad car loan. It's not just the $15,000, it's the $500,000 of future wealth that was stolen from you. Renting versus owning is the ultimate boots theory example. When you rent, you are paying 100% interest on your shelter. You get zero equity. You're just paying your landlord's mortgage plus a profit. To buy a house, you need a down payment, tens of thousands of dollars. But if half your income is going to rent, you can never save that down payment. You are trapped paying $2,000 a month for an apartment that would only cost you $1,200 a month if you could afford to own it. The inability to save for the down payment locks you into the more expensive long-term path forever. But the math of being broke goes even deeper than your bank account. It starts stealing something you can never get back, your time and your mental energy. The most damaging costs of being broke are the ones you can't see on a bank statement. They are the invisible taxes that create a suffocating loop. First, there's the tax on your mind, which scientists call the scarcity mindset. Studies have shown that when you are genuinely worried about how you're going to pay your bills, your functional IQ temporarily drops by about 13 points. That's the equivalent of losing a full night of sleep. This isn't about being bad with money. It's about a cognitive burden that consumes all your mental bandwidth. And this burden forces you into something called the comfort trap. You're stuck in a survival-based comfort zone. It prevents you from taking the calculated risks needed for growth, like changing jobs or learning a new skill, because any risk feels too dangerous when you're on the edge. Then there's the time tax. If you have a washer and dryer, doing laundry takes 5 minutes of your active time. If you have to go to the laundromat, it costs you $5 in quarters, but it also costs you 2 hours of your life. 2 hours you can't spend working, learning, or resting. That time is gone forever. This friction is everywhere. Getting to a grocery store with fair prices might require an hour on the bus. Everything is harder. Everything takes longer. And time, as we know, is money. Okay, I know all of that was heavy. But the point is not to despair. The point is to understand the enemy so you can finally defeat it. This system is a powerful enemy, but it has a critical weakness, and that weakness is a buffer. For someone in this situation, the best financial return isn't in the stock market. It's escaping the Boots theory penalties. If you have a credit card charging you 20% interest, paying it off is a guaranteed 20% return on your money. No investment in the world can promise you that. This is why your first $1,000 is the most powerful money you will ever save. That small emergency fund is not just for emergencies, it is the weapon that destroys the poverty premium. And this isn't just a feeling, it's science. Neuroscientists have found that financial security is proven to reduce cortisol, your body's primary stress hormone. Having even a small buffer has a massive positive impact on your well-being and decision-making. Here's exactly how it works. It lets you fix the check engine light before it becomes a catastrophe. That small buffer turns a $2,500 disaster into a $300 inconvenience. It allows you to buy the bulk toilet paper. You immediately lower your personal inflation rate and stop paying the grocery store penalty. Most importantly, it gives you back your mind. That $1,000 in the bank is the mental space you need to think beyond next week's bills and start planning for next year. This system is challenging. The math is stacked against you at the start, but understanding that math is the first step to winning. I want you to stop blaming yourself for being bad with money and start attacking the penalties. Here's your first simple, actionable step. I want you to perform a Vampire Cost Audit. Look at your finances from last month. Find that $35 overdraft fee. Find that recurring late fee on your utility bill. Find the extra money you're paying for single-serve items. Pick one. That is your first target. Your entire mission for the next 2 weeks is to save the exact amount needed to kill that one vampire. Ruthlessly cut spending elsewhere until you have plugged that one leak. This isn't just saving money, it's a strategic strike against the system that's been draining you. This is your first strategic strike. This is you buying your first pair of high-quality boots, and with them, you can finally start walking toward freedom. If this video opened your eyes, please hit the like button, subscribe for more breakdowns of the hidden rules of money, and share this with someone who needs to hear that it's not their fault, it's just math, and that math can be beaten. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.